On today's episode of PincheAls Garage, we're going to be putting all the accessories, so stay tuned, because this is PincheAls Garage. So the first thing we're going to need to do, we'll have the oil cooler housing, and the oil cooler going to go back on. There's a special gasket that goes here for it. The thermostat with the gasket and the housing. That's this side for the accessories. We're going to mount the bracket here for your power steering, AC, and what's the third one? Alternator. We're going to mount that bracket there in a little bit. So that'll be this side of the engine getting put together. And then the next side is going to be on the other side where there's nothing. Actually, there's nothing on the other side, so we don't need to worry about that. We're actually going to get the front end of the I'm sorry guys, I'm tired. Front end of the engine here. We're going to put the front main seal. This is the front main seal. There's a rear main seal as well, but the front main seal is going to be going on. We're going to show you how to do that. We're going to take off the oil pan right now. So let's get to work. Break. So here is the oil cooler housing, and it's also the crankcase breather. This only goes on one way, so you'll see here. So there's a gasket that goes on there. Let me grab that for you guys. So this is the gasket. It's required. All the part numbers, I know you guys are asking for them. You're not going to get them until the end. So be patient, because I'm not posting any part numbers until the entire build is done. So that's going to sit right on there. They do require a little bit of RTV. And we'll show you how to put some RTV on here, but it's not very much. And that sits there. The other one is your thermostat and the thermostat housing. Try to replace as much as you can with brand new parts, because they will be prone to leaking. So here's the thermostat. It only goes in one way, so if it went in this way, it's not the right way. It should go in this way. You'll see it sits flat. If it goes in this way, you'll see it doesn't sit flat or stationary. So this is the correct way. There's an O-ring that goes right on top of it, just like that. Your thermostat housing. There you go. Try to put the ring over it. Just like that. Put your two 10mm bolts that go there. Get that taken care of. Torque to spec. Now for your oil cooler, there's a very special ring for it, and that goes down here. Okay, and your oil cooler housing, here it is, has one here, and you'll see there's a couple teeth on here. Just pick one. Doesn't have to be specific, just has to be one. So what that does is just holds it in place for you. That's all it's doing for you. So if you remember how yours goes in, you're going to need that. You need a special size socket for that. I'll mention that later. But this goes in. Now remember that only goes in one way, so let me find it. Let me find the way. There you go. Just like that. Now you can't put this on at the same time, because I'll show you. I'm just showing you guys right now. I'm not putting this together. There's a bolt here, and if you put it on there, it's not going to let you tighten this one bolt down. So remember that. Put that on last, but this only goes on one specific way, because this is where your two lines that feed that go. here's that. Now we gotta get the bolts for that. Once you get that, your bolts here, we're gonna get you to some torque specifications. Alright, so now I found all my bolts. So I mounted my accessory bracket here. I'm putting everything by hand first. Once you get everything pretty much put on, just put everything nice and snug. Don't torque anything down. And we're missing one. We'll look for it later. I'm missing the one that goes right here. 10mm bolts for the thermostat and the breather, or the crankcase breather with the oil cooler. So for the crankcase breather here, these are 11 foot-pounds with a quarter turn. So make sure you guys, it doesn't say if it requires any RTV, so that means just put them down. Make sure everything lines up nicely. Get your breaker bar, 11 foot-pounds, do it in a crisscross action. Depending on how sensitive your torque wrench is, go slow. This one I'm going to have to use an extension, which I don't like using when we're doing this, but I don't have a choice. Okay, so now it requires a quarter turn from where you're at. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. That's torqued down to spec. Now the next one is the actual oil cooler itself. Remember how I showed you the O-ring? Just push it in. It has little points here to press that in. Slide it in. And it only goes in one way, so once you get it in, you're going to put the big nut that goes on here. And then I'll tell you guys the torque spec for that in just a second. So the next thing is the oil cooler nut, which is 18 foot-pounds. And you're going to need a 27mm socket for that. So just go down nice and slow. And just, it's a little bit hard because it's a really thin nut. right there. There we go. That's it. So that's done. Next, let's get the thermostat torqued down. I'm going to find that in my Bible in just a moment. Okay, number 7. And those go down to 11 foot-pounds with a 10mm socket. And that's this right here.